Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode in our Lively Liverpool series, we do have a game against Arsenal as promised. And there's been a couple of games to update you on since we last met. So the league table looks as is, with Liverpool in 6th place, 5 games played, 10. Well, actually we're on 9 points. But we're just 2 points off from the top, so that's just to give you an idea about how competitive it has been in these early stages. For ourselves, we actually haven't done too well in truth, 2 wins only and 3 draws. And we'll show you in just a second what those matches are individually. But yeah, so far it's been a bit messy, so I think that suits us a bit more than how it has been the last 2 seasons, where Chelsea and City just absolutely dominated the league on both occasions. Well, each as in, and yeah, this way I think we have more of a chance to actually go through and continue and actually win the title. So it all obviously depends on how we perform, but so far we've been as inconsistent as ever. So we showed you the game against Chelsea here, which was a 0-0 draw in the Community Shield, where Chelsea managed to win through penalties. Against Manchester City, though, we managed to bounce back in an incredible manner, winning 6-1 with our former player Roberto Firmino scoring in the 86th minute, but we absolutely destroyed them through the likes of James Rodriguez, who scored a hat-trick, Salah scored the goal, Keita scored the goal, Divock Origi also managed to get on the score sheet. Against Tottenham, though, a bit of a, you could argue, a crazier game, a 3-3 result, with Van Dijk scoring an own goal, unfortunately. Tottenham went 3-0 up. You know, I thought it was done and dusted. The way we fought back was incredible, and through 4-0 Salah and Kent, who managed to tie the game up eventually and run away with a point that we, I think we deserved technically, but the way the first half went, you would assume Tottenham would be furious to have ended the game with a draw instead of a win. And then after that happened, we managed to go on well, actually since that game we managed to go on a drawing run, I suppose. Brighton 1-1, we managed to open the scoring within 10 minutes through James Rodriguez again, and Davies scored in the 62nd minute, and we were unable to get the winner. Against Watford at home, arguably the worst result of the compared to Brighton, where we also managed to open the scoring early, and Andre Gray managed to score in the 26th minute, and then since then we couldn't get an actual winner, and we were at home in front of our own fans and we failed to get all 3 points. Valencia, another result at home. It was a 0-0 bore draw, and that kind of explains it all really. So I'm hoping to have made some tactical tweaks again. Hopefully the final ones. I know I tend to tweak a bit too much in this Liverpool save, at least in general I don't really do that, but I feel like there's hints where we can do a bit better, and so I'm just trying to find the right balance. But hopefully this is the last time that we do that. I'll show you in just a moment though. Anyways, against Middlesbrough away, we managed to win 4-2. Rodriguez again on the score sheet, with Lacazette getting a hat-trick to pretty much win the game for us. Guilherme this time was the one who scored an own goal, and Sandro helped Middlesbrough score a second, and they were already 2-0 up, so we managed to turn the result around completely. And that was obviously pleasing, but we did head into half-time with a 2-2 result, and then we managed to get the winners in the 78th and 90th minute. Stoke was a 3-1 win away from home as well. This time we were 2-0 up, and then Mbola scored in the 80th minute to make things really uncomfortable for us. So thankfully 3 minutes later, Salah managed to get on the score sheet and get us, make us a little bit more comfortable and get us into the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. So that's kind of it. Of course, I'm pretty sure you noticed on the homepage, James Rodriguez is our top goal scorer. Alexander Lacazette is our highest average rating, and most assists goes to our right back, which is pleasing to see because complete wing backs are so important in this formation. And that's kind of a nice little variety of players to see there. But of course, I'd love to actually see Lacazette in the top goal scorer result instead, or stat here instead. But anyways, in terms of today's game, we are obviously facing Arsenal, so it's a huge game. The team themselves are actually in 15th with 5 points, so we don't want them to close the gap on us. We also want to keep them down as much as possible and continue climbing the table ourselves. And I think in terms of, okay, so the tactical tweaks were still playing with the same formation, but I think I'm not really enjoying how we were used to play. So we actually had the Enganche, the advanced forward, the Roda Mentor, box-to-box midfielder, anchorman, and of course the cover and stopper roles, and an advanced playmaker. So I've completely tweaked it around again just to try and suit our players a bit more. I think they're definitely are more comfortable now this way. We've got inside forwards because that's their roles that they prefer. We've got an attacking midfielder. It's not Rodriguez's best position, role. He's an advanced playmaker, but I feel like we have to have overlapping runs over here. We didn't have overlapping runs. You know, this is an overloading partnership. This is an overlapping one, but then you've got direct partnerships here, and they don't suit us too well. I feel like we need someone who actually gets involved with the build-up play a bit more than an advanced forward, and so we've gone back to complete forward on support role. I think it works a little bit better. Keita's most comfortable as a roaming playmaker. Henderson is a defensive midfielder. He wasn't enjoying the anchorman role, so maybe he'll be better as a deep line playmaker, a role that Chan enjoys as well. And Keita's backup, who is Jorginho, should be comfortable in the roaming playmaker role as well, but we can always tweak it for him. But I think he can very much do that role. So we still got, in terms of the stoppers and cover roles, I wasn't too much of a fan of it, especially because we did play an offside trap. So I think playing two defensive, regular central defender on defend duty and ball playing defender on the defend duty as well, so it just made a bit more sense so we can hold our line a bit better, and I feel like this way the tactic might work a bit better. In terms of actual player tweaks, the only instructions we've given is to Rodriguez with more risky passing and move into channels so that he's more of a shadow striker. I love the complete forward support with the shadow striker combination, but Rodriguez isn't comfortable with it. I think he can pretty much do the role well enough. He's showed us he's got excellent finishing, but unfortunately for us he's not too comfortable with it at all, and so we've just gone with the attacking midfielder one, which is another role, I guess you'd call it. What would you call this? Or is it? Yes, role. Duty is the one that's on attack. Alright, but anyways, it is the role that still overlaps the complete forward, similar to the shadow striker. And so we've just given him some instructions to make him a bit more like a shadow striker, which is move into the channels and then more risky passes as well, because he's plenty creative. There's also the roaming playmaker. We've given them a bit more instruction to be a tiny bit more defensive than he might have been. And just asked him to tackle harder and to mark tighter so that he plays more like the ball-winning midfielder, but a creative one. And so hopefully that will suit Naby Keita here with the roaming playmaker role. I think that's it. So I think we can go ahead and get into today's game. We have suffered a couple of injuries. I'm hoping with the new tactical tweaks it will suit our players more so they can perform a bit better. We've got Santos, who's picked up a bit of a knock, Divock Origi with a bit of a knock as well, but the likes of Gomez and Trent Alexander-Arnold are both out for a little bit longer than those two players. And of course Chan has been suspended for today's game after picking up a number of yellow cards. Actually, he picked up a red is what got him. He got sent off in the Carabao Cup, that's true. So I think that's it. I think we can go ahead and get into today's game. It's a very important one. We've got some decent enough players in our squad to actually cause some damage. I'm hoping James Rodriguez can keep up his form. He's our top goal scorer. I'm hoping the tactical tweak won't see him perform poorly, and Lacazette should do a bit better as a complete forward as well. I thought playing him as an advanced forward would suit him more and he would be much better, but I don't think there's been that much of a difference compared to the previous seasons we've played him in the complete forward role and whatnot. But anyways, Arsenal playing with a 4-2-3-1, very similar to us. Of course, we're playing the symmetric version. We've definitely got more attacking fullbacks, but we've got Zappacosta from Chelsea, Mustafi, Chambers, Rodriguez, of course. Very decent lineup. This guy here is a very good goalkeeper as well. Youngster potential. I'm guessing right now he's a top goalkeeper by now. 26 million, 130k. You'd assume he is. Quality signing, good goalkeeper according to my scout, and he can become a leading one. Got Xhaka and Goretzka as well as Ozil in midfield. Campbell and Immobile and Petanga. I can't say that I know this guy. Bit of a strange one. Apparently he's worth a lot of money, doesn't enjoy big matches, so hopefully he doesn't show up today. But yeah, I think we can definitely take this Arsenal team on. They've got Immobile playing in an uncomfortable position, I suppose, and I think we can definitely try and make the most out of our own players being more comfortable roles, and I think you can say that we are definitely a better team. And that Lacazette James Rodriguez combination is very, very tempting. I think if you ask Arsenal fans in real life whether they'd love to have those two, they would definitely agree. Or Liverpool's fans, sorry. But anyways, now what team talk do we go through? We are favourites, and I think we can be assertive, tell our players we expect the win. And I have to say it's not too much of a surprise to be favourites because we're at home. But also I think we are the better team. Hopefully we can prove it today. We have beaten City, an incredible result, 6-1. We drew with Tottenham 3-3 after being 3-0 down. And so today we really want to put the sword to Arsenal as well and show that we're not messing about with the top teams. Anyways, Chamberlain on the ball for us. Cuts inside and he's tackled immediately. So we're going to get a chance with the free kick here. And that amounts to nothing apparently. So, and Chamberlain's picked up an injury as well. But either way, we've got Salah on the bench. Horn, of course, starts because it's the Premier League fixture. He is our Premier League goalkeeper. We've got Trupe, who's been performing really well recently in the right back spot, so he's going to keep it. We've got Kieran Tierney as well, taken over from Guilherme, who started the initial first few fixtures, but Tierney is going to come in now. Got Wallace and Van Dijk, of course, in the centre of defence. That's a very capable central defensive duo, and I think we should be able to keep a clean sheet, but Arsenal are trying to stop that from happening here today. Henderson is just a bit of the ball bouncing about, I suppose, but eventually reaches James Rodriguez and it looks like he's going to try and go all the way by himself. He's tackled fairly apparently, and Campbell can get Arsenal going away again. Zappacosta just lobs it forward. Wallace is there though, and he finds Chamberlain, the injured Chamberlain, well. Goes to James Rodriguez and this time is tackled again fairly and eventually just eases out, fizzles out into the goalkeeper's hands. But it's a bit too much bouncing around for my liking. We don't seem to have too much composure on the ball, but maybe we can show a bit more here. James Rodriguez, can he find Lacazette through? He almost did. Lacazette holds it up and tries to find Kent through, but eventually it's cleared again by Arsenal. This is just back and forth. Rodriguez on the ball this time, don't lose it. He loses it anyways, but falls nicely to Kieran Tierney. Takes it to byline, crosses in for Lacazette. Chamberlain's there, and that's all that matters. That is onside. He scored with an injury, so it's good to see. And I was going to take him off at half time. I think I still will because of that injury. I don't want it to get worse, but it's nice to see him on the score sheet. And I'm sorry I forgot to set replays on, so hopefully there's more goals to show, more goals in our favour at least. Let's have a quick look at that again actually then. It's just all round good play, but I'm not pleased with how it's just bouncing about. It's just too many headers, things, you know, it's just really messy. I mean, you can tell for yourself here. I'm not sure why the game took us that far back. I just wanted to see the goal itself. I felt like James Rodriguez was tackled unfairly a couple of times there, to be honest. I think one of them or something was a very good tackle, but others really seemed like they were a bit much. But yeah, I mean, you can tell it's just back and forth. And that's not nice. I want to try and keep possession a bit more. Already play with a pass shorter instruction, and so it's just more a case of you know, our players being a bit more composed on the ball, a bit smarter. Hopefully this goal will, you know, let them do that a bit better. But yeah, like I said, he holds it up when he probably shouldn't. He should be running through, but he holds it up instead. If he found Kent, that would have been an incredible ball. But eventually, you know, thanks to Xhaka, it gets to Tierney and he delivers a really good ball. And Lacazette's there to, I'm hoping he meant that header down to Chamberlain. But the point is 1-0, and we're absolutely dominating Arsenal in terms of stats. But I wouldn't say it's comfortable at all. Arsenal do look dangerous. Like I said, there's too much bouncing around, so you can never assume that we'll walk away with a clean sheet just yet. But if we keep the ball a bit better, maybe we'll. Really good ball from Naby to James Rodriguez, but unfortunately wasn't as alive to it. And goalkeeper finds Patanga quite well, who hold the ball up for his team. And Arsenal getting forward, trying to hit us on the counter. We're getting our players back, but not good enough. And it's now with Immobile, who we said will hopefully perform poorly, but that's one hell of a ball. Tierney's there to clear it. Kent does a poor job of knocking it forward. Zappacosta can find Ozil, the danger man, of course, for Arsenal. Xhaka though. Back to Ozil, goes to Immobile. Oh, that's one hell of. I thought if he really pulled off that trick, that would have been incredible. And he almost skinned Trupe alive. Lacazette though, down the wing. Is anyone in the box for him when he delivers? There's Keita to Chamberlain, and another goal for the Englishman. You have to say, if my players are intending those, you know, headers down, those assists, the header assists, I suppose, then good job. But really, both times, Lacazette and Naby could have scored from the initial header. But it's good to see Naby playing as a roaming playmaker, actually getting into the box to head that down really well. And Chamberlain just finishes. You need to argue that the Arsenal goalkeeper should do a bit better there. But yeah, nice 2-goal cushion now. We need a third if you ask me, and we're going to try and get it now through Trupe. Henderson picks up the pieces. What's he going to do? He goes back to Trupe, the complete wing back. Switches to the other flank, I suppose. There's no one really there, but Kent goes out to meet it and he loses out to Zappacosta. You always knew that was going to happen once that ball was played. Patanga holds the ball up well for his team. Chamberlain was almost there on Immobile, but Ozil's the one who comes away with it. And he can find Rodriguez really well. And we know he can cross. Virgil van Dijk, that's exactly why we bought him, an incredible interception. But Arsenal are still going. This game is so back and forth. I'd love to see my players take a slower tempo and keep the ball a bit better. Either way, we're coming away with it again. Kent to Lacazette. If he can find... Yes, he does. He finds Rodriguez really well. James. Chamberlain should have had that hat-trick, and that is as clear-cut a chance as ever. It's incredible he scored the 2 goals that you'd argue are more difficult. And he missed the one that would have given him a hat-trick before half-time. But either way, it looks like Arsenal are just about surviving. James Rodriguez with the delivery. Henderson from outside the box. Is he going to shoot or is he going to play it to a teammate? Goes to Lacazette, probably the smarter ball. Keita's on it though. Back to James Rodriguez. And the amount of times James has lost the ball, it's just incredible. Alright, Campbell. Tierney deals with that really well. Just when you thought he was going to get going, Tierney just shuts it off. And Henderson has an opportunity to find Trupe well, and that's it. It's like we're making complete use of our wing-backs, which is what I'm loving to see. Complete wing-backs. They have the freedom to roam, freedom to get into good positions, and they're doing that. Chamberlain to Lacazette, through to James. Nope. Instead he loses it, and it didn't look like he got tackled, but sometimes the match engine's a bit funny like that. Either way, Arsenal come away on the counter-attack. We're trying to hold them off, but it's a really good switch to Immobile, and he goes for a shot first time, and he scores. And that's probably why Arsenal play him out on the left, because he's a goal-scoring winger. And he got into a really good position, but that pass is one hell of a pass, and I think that came from Campbell. I mean, the switch is just really good. He's got a bunch of players ahead of him, but instead he goes for a switch, and you'd argue Trupe is too busy in midfield when he should be marking his man instead, and his Immobile just loses him completely to give Arsenal not an undeserved goal, but you'd argue that this result shouldn't be as close as it is. Anyways, Chamberlain off, injured, Salah's on. It's not exactly the worst replacement. Salah is our first choice after all, but would have been nice to have seen Chamberlain get his hat-trick before. Alright, so it's just pinball in the box and eventually cleared to Tierney, but there's about 5 clear-cut chances there for my players. And we should be going into half-time with more of a result, and that may yet happen, but could also swing to Arsenal's way. The way we're giving the ball away is not too good. Lacazette. Is he going to find James Rodriguez through? Nope, he just dribbles a bit and then loses it, but thankfully the pass to Campbell's poor and Wallace cleans it up. Tierney. Through to Kent. Can he deliver into the box? Yes, he can. Salah's there. And he scores in a very similar manner that Chamberlain scored, from a tight angle. And the Egyptian gives us a bit of a better lead. We need to add to it. 4 clear-cut chances to Arsenal's 0. And yet we find ourselves 3-1 up. When you'd argue we could be easily 4-0 if not more. It's good to see that, you know, when the game's so back and forth, it's good to see the results still fall in our favour. Anyways, let's head into half-time, give our little team talk. Arsenal are still nervous, frustrated, furious, I suppose. But my players are looking nice and composed and confident and motivated, so we'll see what type of team talk we need to give them when we see them at half-time. Alright. There you go, stats looking really good in our favour. No one's complacent, so I think the right thing to do is just tell them, happy with things, keep it up. And given the recent results anyways, there's no real reason for my players to be complacent. They've had a run of 4 draws before they managed to win the last 2 games. But this is the one that's important, because I think the last 2 games were a cup competition. Actually, one of them was Premier League. But yeah, this one's a very important one if we want to, you know, it's sort of a title warning to everyone else, a title shot, just letting everyone know we're in this, we're serious this season, we're not messing about. One hell of a ball from James Rodriguez to find Trupe, and it looks like we're going guns blazing in the second half, but we're going to need a better cross than that if we want to cause some more damage to Arsenal. It's nice to see Lacazette also flourish in the complete forward support role. He's managed to grab himself a goal, or was that an assist? Either way, his rating is really good. Campbell's on the box here. It's not looking too good for us. Thankfully, Xhaka just hits it straight at Horan. But that was not too good defending. I'm just going to warn my players to stay concentrated, but the highlight hasn't ended. So is it going to fall in our favour or in Arsenal's? Long ball forward, of course, finds Lacazette really well, actually. And through ball to Salah. If the Egyptian plays is smart, we can make it 4. And he does to Naby Keita. Can he score? Yes, he can. And the roaming playmaker, look at him enjoying that role. He hasn't performed for us that well since arriving. And perhaps we're at fault for playing him in the role that he should do well. But maybe he just wanted that roaming playmaker role where it's completely comfortable for him. We're playing him as a box-to-box midfielder, which is essentially the roaming playmaker role without the vision. That's kind of the difference in truth. But he's definitely enjoying this roaming playmaker role much more. He gets into the box a lot more than when he was playing as a box-to-box midfielder. But either way, we're now 4-1. The result is 4-1. And I think this is as comfortable as we can ask my players to make it. So yeah, Lacazette didn't actually grab a goal, he grabbed an assist, but his overall link-up play has been really good, so that's probably why he's gotten a higher rating. Chupe to Naby, and James Rodriguez doesn't lose it for once, but it's a poor pass. Zappacosta cuts it up, Wallace can find Kent well. And there you go, those are the overlapping partnerships we're talking about. Henderson find Tierney in a place that you would arguably think an inside forward should be in. A decent header from Lacazette, but goes straight to their goalkeeper. And you know, heading's not his strong suit, but maybe he should have done a bit better there. Highlight doesn't end though, and it's Arsenal with the ball. Can't really seem to break us down. We're doing a good job of just forcing them to play square, you know, a lot more than we are. I just want to make a quick tactical tweak, just have a look at something actually. Lacazette's going to have a long range shot here anyways. Alright, so I love the shadow striker role, so I want to copy him as much as possible. So it does dribble more, gets forward, moves into channel, and more risky passes is what a shadow striker does anyways. So I think I will ask James Rodriguez to dribble more. I feel like that's what's been missing anyways. He keeps losing the ball. And I think it's because he's been holding on to it, trying to find someone to pass to when maybe he could dribble and beat his man. So I'm going to give him the option to dribble a bit more. He's definitely got the skills for it as well, so let's see if that helps him improve a bit. He's definitely not had a poor game, he just hasn't had the best of games. One hell of a tackle from Chupe, and it's back to Wallace, who goes to the ball playing defender Virgil van Dijk, and Henderson finds Chupe again, and there you go, just recycling possession quite well. Eventually he reaches Salah though, and he squares it to Naby. What's the Roman playmaker going to do? Finds Lacazette well, turns with the ball, and he just needs to find a good through ball, and it is to James Rodriguez. Can he finish? Yes he can. It's 5-1 against Arsenal, and there you go, James Rodriguez finally getting his goal, finally found as well by Lacazette, and that's why we like to play overlapping partnerships. Lacazette drops deep, James Rodriguez goes past him, and of course there is always the option as well of James Rodriguez playing Lacazette through, but I love how Lacazette drops here, turns with the ball incredibly well. You've already got two players taken out of the equation. He just plays one hell of a ball through to James Rodriguez that they can't defend. And James's angle's quite poor as well, but he still manages to find the finish. That's really good all-around play. So we want to try and look to rest some players now, not too many tired ones, just Naby. Got Jorginho on the bench, so make that substitution. We want to try and avoid bringing on these injured players too. We don't want to make them pick up a more serious knock. They're just on the bench because really no other options, but yeah, just want to try and avoid using them as much as possible, and at the same time give the players who are tired and who deserve a rest a bit of, you know, some time off, I suppose. Anyways, another highlight. They're dealing with Arsenal's threat really well. They've had 6 shots, just 2 on target in comparison to ourselves. We've had 20 with 11 on target. More importantly though, I don't really care about shots that much. What I care about is creating chances, and that's exactly what we're doing with 4 clear-cut chances, 3 half chances. And we managed to grab 5 goals out of that. Chupe through to Salah. Doesn't go, he's not selfish ever. And Jorginho almost scored a goal of the season contender there. Anyways, 70 minutes, so you can look to make another substitution, our last one. So there's a couple of players here tired, but best rating is arguably Lacazette. But it does mean bringing on Origi, who's injured, so bit risky. I think let's keep Lacazette on and just take off James Rodriguez for Pablo. And that way we can keep Origi safe from suffering another injury or making his current one worse. And James Rodriguez had a really good game anyways, and topped it off with a goal too, so he does deserve a bit of rest. Anyways, Arsenal just clear it forward once more. Wallace is a bit by himself, goes back to Hornwell, and that's the end of that pressure, I suppose, but he does seem to be playing a bit risky for once. Tierney there though, collects it well and finds, well, tries to find Kent through, but Bellerin's there to pick up the pieces. And Arsenal are looking to limit the damage as much as possible, but not going to be able to do it like that. Lacazette. Oh, go on, Lacazette. Oh, that deserved a finish. That was an incredible run. And he's clearly enjoying playing against his former team. Kent with the free kick. Wallace back to... Oh, what is he doing? That's a bit of a... I feel like sometimes my players are too unselfish. Sometimes they're in really good positions that you would say they should be taking the shots themselves, but instead they try and find a teammate. Credit to them, but maybe we could be finishing those chances initially. Anyways, Arsenal are hardly getting a rest here. It's highlight after highlight, and Jorginho calmly back to Henderson. And they're just playing it between themselves. Wallace back to Henderson. Arsenal can't win the ball. Well, they almost did it there, but anyways, well, there you go. Wallace gives it away, and then he lets Giroud get in behind him. Van Dijk tries to cover him, but thankfully the angle's too poor for Giroud to actually try and finish. And I'm actually surprised that Arsenal still have Giroud. And just to give you an idea, they have, I think just before that highlight showed up, if you saw, Sturridge was on the Arsenal bench, and like I mentioned, they did buy him in the summer. It was one of the weirdest transfers I've seen. He was available for free in July, but they didn't want to wait till July, so they said, okay, I'm going to buy you in June. I'm going to pay £1 million for £1 million to buy a player who's free in July anyways. And you'd argue that once he was let go for free, you know, by ourselves, then his wages would drop. But just as soon as they wished to buy him straight from us, you would assume that Sturridge is still asking for the same incredible wages he was on with us. So yeah, there you go. He was on 120k for us, and with Arsenal he's on 135k. And I think if he got released by us, he would have realised, you know what, maybe I'm not a top player. He is 30 years old now, apparently. Did that say 30? Was that actually 30? That's incredible. Can't seem to select him, and there's another highlight. Come on, get this over with. Just shoot Henderson. Ugh. Almost gave it away there. Alright, Kent. Ooh, good ball. Jorginho. Lacazette. Yes. Don't tell me that's an own goal. That's definitely Lacazette. Finally grabs the goal that he deserves. I thought Henderson was a bit of an idiot for going back to Tierney, but eventually works out in his favour. I mean, Arsenal did have every man back, of course, because it was a set piece. Spread it out wide back to Kent eventually. Jorginho makes a good run in. Squares it. Just really good vision to find Lacazette there. You know, composure in the box. That's all that matters. But yeah, there's Sturridge. Was he actually 30? Oh, he is 30 years old. I'd be surprised if he does well for them. Oh, actually, 3 starts and 3 goals, but 2 of them have come in the Czech Trade Trophy, which is, I think, the under 23s or under 19s even, or under 18s, sorry, their competition. So I think he's not even featuring for Arsenal that well. But anyways, it ends 6-1, so very similar result against Manchester City, and we made the tactical tweaks here, and it still seemed to work. I think it's gotten better out of our players, so we're going to continue with it. And I can't ask for more from my players. Very happy with the result and the way they played, without a doubt. And it's good to see ourselves climb up the table and at the same time push Arsenal down as far as possible. If other results go away from their favour, then they might actually find themselves at risk of being in the relegation zone in the early stages of this Premier League season. But yeah, I think, what does that make it? 6 games played, and we've got 12 points. So not the best start, but it's a good thing that, you know, it's been so competitive with other teams that it's so tight at the top, which I love to see. I love it when it's competitive like this. But anyways, that's the end of that match. So when we're going to be back is into, you know, that was the last match of September. We want to show you an October fixture again, which is from FCP Porto to about Leeds. Don't want to show you any cup competitions, so you can assume the Champions Cup and the Carabao Cup are out of the equation. That leads us to West Brom, Millwall and Leicester, and I think the most interesting ones possibly Leicester, who are in 7th place at the moment. West Brom 13th, Millwall in 19th. It would be nice to play against Millwall, you know, newly promoted, and but we are at home, so it's less of an important fixture. We'll probably show you the Leicester one instead, and hopefully by then we'll be in a better position in the Champions League as well. But yeah, I think that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then of course please hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below as well. And once again, as always guys, thank you all very much for watching.